Hello, everyone, and welcome to Influential Leadership Tips. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm John Hadley. Dave, I was reading something this weekend that I thought would make a really interesting point to just throw out there and see what people think. I mean, we can give them some ideas on this.
Okay, sounds good.
Cheryl Palmer, the CEO of Taylor Morrison, she was being interviewed. And she made this statement that if I'm in a meeting, my shoes are probably off under the table. As silly as that sounds, that's who I am. And the day that I have to change who I am, do my job, will be the day I don't really want it anymore. I've watched so many people lose sight of their personal reality because they felt they had to act or look a certain part. Now,
So your tip, keep your shoes on when you're at the table, or?
that's it, yes, because,
Okay. Good tip, John.
So actually I had a boss who used to take his shoes off, except he had holes in his socks.
You got to make sure you're using the odor eaters, man.
Yes.
Everything.
So what struck me about this was that one of the things that we teach is, hey, if you want to be a leader, if you want to be a CEO, if you want to be the next level in your organization, you should act and dress like that. You should get people to see you in that new level. And that, to some degree, that goes counter to what she's saying of saying, you should act and look and dress like what you really are. So where do we draw the line between when I'm acting or dressing a part versus when I'm authentically doing it and making that part of who I am?
Yeah, I mean, you hear people a lot of times say, this is not who I am. This is who I am. I'm not the kind of person that gets up and speaks in front of people, or I'm not the kind of person that engages in conflict directly.
Right.
All kinds of things. And they're describing behaviors like they're that person's identity. And I think we have to make a distinction between who I am and what I do, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I think it's a lot about comfort zone. I have a client I've been working with who he told me that networking wasn't real comfortable for him. And he's a CFO of a major nonprofit. And so I challenged him on that. And I said, look, let's talk about how you do this. And one of the things was he was very comfortable talking about his company and what his organization did. It was that he had a hard time talking about himself. That didn't feel natural. So I started working with him on ways he could do that, what his message could be, how he could do that in a way that would feel more comfortable. And pretty soon he's saying, wow, I'm having great conversations with people. I don't feel uncomfortable anymore talking about myself because it's not like I'm bragging. I'm just, it's natural. And now all sorts of new interesting opportunities have been opening up for him because of having these conversations. So he expanded his comfort zone, basically.
Yeah, and we can do that. And I think you hit the nail on the head. When you adopt a behavior as an identity, it can become a limiting factor in how you perform. I mean, when we're kids, we don't really do that too much. I mean, we learn things all the time. We're like sponges, We didn't think, maybe we weren't old enough, but, we never crossed our minds to think, well, this isn't who I am, this walking thing or this talking thing or this alphabet. I'm not the kind of person that needs to know the alphabet. We didn't think that way. I didn't think that way when I learned to hit a baseball. I knew if I wanted to play baseball, I had to learn how to hit. And maybe it was out of my comfort zone, but as I learned the skills and got trained and everything else, it didn't change who I was. It expanded who I was. It kind of brought who I was out forth into the world and was an expression. So, as we get older, I think we get locked into this is who we are.
Yes.
And I understand, and we study this all the time and work with people on this, that we do have a hard wiring that defines maybe a comfort zone. Some people are more naturally able to get in front of 1,000 people and speak than other people.
Mhm.
But that's not to say that not everyone can do it. It just might take some people a lot more energy than others to do that. The person that's less wired to do that could do it for an hour, but they couldn't do it 24/7.
Right. I was reading a book on networking for introverts, and that was really a lot of her message was, look, anyone can do this.
Yeah.
But if you're a natural introvert, you do it in smaller increments, and you're going to need more time to recharge in between. You're not going to go out and be the life of the party and be the life of the party 3 nights in a row. You may never be the life of the party, but you can be very effective. But you're going to then need to go home and really relax and recharge yourself, because it'll drain your batteries quicker.
Yeah. So having said that, I think there's a lot of behaviors that we put as limiting factors and we under the guise of identity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we should challenge in ourselves as leaders.
Yep. Yeah. So I would challenge everyone who's watching this, think about where or in what ways are you limiting yourself because you're saying that's not who I am. And, identify anything you can do like that, where it's just a matter of maybe if I don't limit myself, maybe I can expand that comfort zone. So think about that, and I'll talk to you next week.
And until then, be influential.